Good morning. Today we are at Little Mulberry Park in Gwinnett County, Georgia, USA. And this is basically my backyard. I come here a lot, and generally speaking, what I try to photograph are ducks and geese, the occasional kingfisher, some smaller birds, but it's always fun, and it's a beautiful little lake that's on this park, and I think you might like what I've done here. We have an additional camera, as you can see, that's mounted on top of this particular lens, and I hope that you'll look at it like it's a pretty cool interaction, so that you can see what I'm seeing. Anyways, see you out there. This morning I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to intentionally set myself up so the sun's to my face. Looks like there's a lot of sandpipers down there. I hope they stick around. Back in the day I was a runner, I wasn't happy either. Now that I'm here, I'm going to walk a little more gently. It looks right away that there are some geese right behind you. So you're gonna have to follow me up here. Sometimes with these the faster creatures, you definitely need to be patient. I hear a blue heron. There he is. Okay, that was a good little series. Blue heron. I heard him. I couldn't see him because it's so bright out here. But then I saw his reflection a little bit on the water, and I still couldn't see him. But then he was coming directly at me, as you, because of this new camera setup, could see. And right now he's over here. And he gets on this little sand barge. Where are we? He's back there, navigating. And he's going back to wherever he wants to go. Okay. Looking at that series, what I noticed reviewing the images was that as you can see out here, it's still a somewhat blinding situation. But you can sometimes get some incredible images if you're willing to put the sun to your face. But you really have to look out for, with this direct sun, on something like the blue heron. They have these light feathers, especially on top, that will reflect that light, and you can really easily have your subject just overblown. There's some carp down here. Look at that, there's a wood duck. He's in the shade, but if I slow down a little bit, I put my ISO about 4500 to get the right exposure. But here go a couple barn swallows. They have the blue on top and the orange on bottom, and the sharp tail. They're a little easier to photograph than a swift, if they're not dive bombing you. I don't think they're dive bombing either. I think what they do is they build their nests up under the dock on this side, around the corner. That's around the corner from. I'm right there. Well, I got one shot off, and it looks like that wood duck is in the light now, a little bit. Yeah, not really. There's some turtles out here. Turtle crawling up from the water. Don't see that very often. Whenever you're shooting a bird that is in the shade or backlit, and they look directly at you, it's really hard to tell what's happening. The wood duck over there. Going directly behind you right now. Now he's in the shade. Fortunately, I got a couple shots off. Cool. And I think I got a beautiful silhouette right here. In the world of Canada geese, when they're traveling in pairs, generally speaking, it's a male and a female. The male are larger. Usually. And this is really a lot of what wildlife photography is. And it's not like you're walking through a zoo. You kind of take what you can get. You set yourself up for certain things in order to have a good, successful trip, but you're really at the mercy of the animal. female mallard. That's what we have back there. Told myself I wasn't going to buy a new hat until the Braves won World Series again. As you can see, it's been a long time. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I need to buy a new hat and maybe they can start winning. So what we have up here is a red-winged blackbird, the male. That sound travels like nobody's business. Starting to feel a little sunburn. My wife is always getting on to me about not wearing my sunscreen. This is one of those composition shots. Maybe you're saying, well, isn't every shot a composition shot? Technically. But when you're shooting wildlife, sometimes you're really close. And maybe you're saying to yourself, well, isn't every shot a composition shot? I mean, you compose them and you photograph and you take the exposure. This is true, and there's good composition and bad composition, but when you're shooting wildlife and other things, but in wildlife specifically, sometimes you're really close, and it's more of a specimen type of a shot. It's a shot that you might see in a magazine or on a website that's about this is what this animal looks like. Whereas when I refer to a composition shot, it's a little bit more, how am I framing it up? How is the subject in the overall picture? Waiting on this goose to have some catch light in his eye. This is Mulberry Park, Little Mulberry Park, and where I am specifically, you'll see on your screen the coordinates where you can come here if you want. And I'll put the Google link on there as well so that you can just find it on the map. Sometimes when the geese start screaming, they're just screaming. I don't know what their communication actually means. I don't know if anybody knows. I suppose I could follow them around for a few months and then finally be eaten alive by them. I'm not going to do that. But I do know that sometimes when they start screaming, that's when they take off. And it'd be nice to get a nice takeoff sequence. And the same thing, you'll hear their calls across the water sometimes, and that's when they're flying in. Here's the grebe. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. The grebe is, they're small and cute looking, but they are kind of terrifying. Okay, I just got a little sequence of a wood duck drying his wings. I'm sure it was underexposed. Okay. Because I was right on him at that moment, he fired off and I was able to get some shots in. However, I know that I had just before that adjusted my my exposure compensation to plus crap. Well, 1/3 of a stop. So now I'm going to review them. Well, here we go. Chuck Oliver on the radio. I can hardly think of anything worse. Hey, rocket ship. Where's Crocky Locky? Hey, boy! All right, hold on.